Hello once again. So once again, we think that the proposed policy, the American Clean Energy and Security Act of 2009, should not be nationally adopted. If this proposed policy is nationally adopted, it might, as I mentioned earlier, be too risky. Sarah and I believe that this is a risk our nation should not take. Shannon claimed that the United States needs to adopt a cap and trade system in order to fight the dangerous effects of carbon emissions. We strongly negate this claim because it is not necessary to implement a new policy when we already have a working policy. There are other methods in which we could decrease carbon dioxide without having to risk the lives of many people or species. For example, in 2009, it was stated in the Wall Street Journal that according to an internal document presented by the EPA to White House officials, the EPA proposed to use the Clean Air Act to control emissions of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases believed to contribute to climate change. We believe that it would be a better option to keep the current system, the Clean Air Act, instead of the proposed policy. Although the opposing side thinks that the Clean Air Act would not be able to handle the task of regulating carbon emissions, we disagree. As I mentioned before, the Clean Air Act has already been proven to work in reducing harmful emissions of dangerous greenhouse gases. And we also have to consider that the Congress is constantly amending this law to adjust it to our current situation. It saves us time and money, while it also effectively combats the harmful effects of greenhouse gases. Shannon also stated a claim which was similar to what I had mentioned in my previous speech, that the new policy being proposed should work with the existing policy in order to reduce all dangerous greenhouse gases. But she failed to acknowledge that under the American Clean Energy and Security Act of 2009, the Clean Air Act will be repealed. What about the other hazardous greenhouse gases? If the proposed policy is implemented, only man-made carbon emissions will be regulated, and the other greenhouse gases, such as the more hazardous gas methane, will not. Therefore, we have to take into account that carbon emissions are not the only greenhouse gas humans being emit. And thus, we also need to be concerned with the regulation of the other greenhouse gases. Thus, the American Clean Energy and Security Act would fail to address such problem overall. And once again, this is why we think that the American Clean Energy and Security Act of 2009 should not be nationally adopted. Thank you.